Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Make sure you drop a comment, hit the like button. Waiting for a little bit more traffic, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I hope you had a great day today. And as I say in the mornings as I drive to work, I hope you made the most out of your opportunities today. Insider Tech, hello, hello. Were you able to see my message that I posted that says, please list 3 things that you were grateful for today? The reason why I asked that question was, uh, or not question, the reason why I stated that was because this morning, as I was driving to work, I was thinking about things that I'm grateful for and just the conservative movement as a whole. And a thing that attracts me to being a conservative is the idea of gratitude. And today, as I was driving, I talked about thank you, thank you. Hello, fear the wrath. So the thing that I was talking about this morning, as I was doing a little vlog video, was in conservatism, we have a certain level of gratitude for life, gratitude for our country, gratitude for the world that we live in. Whereas if you think about social justice warriors, you think about critical race theorists, you think about other extreme liberals who buy into the systemic racism narrative, or like what I like to call the systemic racism conspiracy theory, because the way that systemic racism is promoted to the kids at school, to us in public by BLM and the Democratic Party, it is a conspiracy theory. So that whole movement, everything that I just outlined, they lack gratitude because all they see is lack and limitation. All they see is oppression. And when you spend a lot of your life not being grateful, then it's easy to fall victim to certain narratives because doom and gloom sounds great. Yes, I had a great day today. I hope you had a great day as well. We could go ahead and get started, guys. So, as you guys know, there was a shooting, and I want to come at this. I want to come at this idea. I want to come at this story from an angle, um, a similar angle as we saw last week, because last week there was an Atlanta shooting, and as soon as the shooting happened, it was labeled a hate crime right away. Racism was contributed to it, and it flew off the handle as racism. All right, so let's just look at the story real quick so we could get a little bit of understanding about it. Massive police response after reports of active shooter at Boulder, Colorado grocery store. And uh, remember the idiocy, the absolute ridiculousness of defunding the police, of abolishing the police. When stuff like this happens, who do you want to go to the grocery store? Of course, now everybody wants the police to intervene, but at the same time, these are a lot of the same people who advocate for defunding and abolishing the police. So that little aside, just these type of stories show just how stupid it is to even open your mouth and say the police deserve less money. Because at the end of the day, who is going to go to this active shooter in Boulder, Colorado? So the story is like this. All right. Police in Colorado responded Monday afternoon to reports of an active shooter at a grocery store in South Boulder. All right. The Boulder police tweeted about 2:49 active shooter. More than 2 hours later, the shopping center was still an active crime scene, and police had released few details about what happened. And pretty soon, we're going to hear an account of a shopper that was in the store. CNN affiliate KMGH KMGH's helicopter recorded a shirtless man being taken from the supermarket. The man the man had what appeared to be blood on his right leg, and his hands appeared to be cuffed behind him, and two officers escorted him away. The man was taken in an ambulance. It was unclear whether the man was involved in the reported active shooting inside the store. A young man and woman described being in the store when they heard the first shots. The man told KMGH he heard one gunshot, then a few second rounds later, several more bangs. I immediately sprinted over to her, and we got out of here and pushed open the emergency door, said the man. So what we have, all really the only details that we have was there was a shooter. Very similar. All right. There was a shooter in Atlanta. All right. Because when these stories break, we know automatically that there was a shooter. There's an active shooter. And I'm just curious as to why in this conversation, why are some crimes considered hate crimes and some crimes considered, oh, it's just an active shooter? When this story broke, Sunshine, happy lady, greetings to you as well. When this story broke, I was paused because why is it? Why is it are some crimes are hate crimes like in Atlanta, and then when we go to Boulder, Colorado, when a really bad thing happens, well, it's just another shooting. So I did a couple I did a little, I would say, I don't know if you guys would call this out of the box thinking or just a follow up, but I was looking at the demographic because, as you guys know, the media loves to focus on certain pieces of media because of the demographics that are related to the story. So when I looked at the demographics of Boulder, Colorado, which I never knew this before, all right, according to the U.S. Bureau Statistics, Boulder, Colorado is 90% white, which means we can assume, with understanding that we could be wrong, we could assume that the shooter was a white shooter shooting white people. Okay, white shooter shooting white people. Now, a question I just have is, why is this not considered a hate crime? Why is this not considered a hate crime? Why is this simply active shooter? All this stuff happens. When Atlanta happened, if you guys remember, a New York Times contributor wrote this piece about what happened in Atlanta, and what they said was that whiteness can be contributed to the reason why all of these things happened. So just last week, we saw this article. All right, whiteness is a pandemic. And it was in response to the Atlanta shooting rampage. Okay, motives unknown. So at that time, they knew motives unknown, fears attacks linked to crimes against Asian Americans. All right, I don't have much to say. Now remember, this is a New York Times contributor. I don't have much to say here that hasn't already been said. Whiteness is a public health crisis. It shortens life expectancy. It pollutes air. It constricts equilibrium. It devastates forests. It melts ice caps. It sparks and funds wars. It flattens dialects. It infests consciousness, and it kills people. White people and people who are not white, my mom included. There will be people who die in 2050 because of white supremacy induced decisions. Now, obviously, this article is not even worth reading the whole thing. This website is not worth this website is not authoritative reporting. Yet there is such a different response. There is such a different response in the Colorado shooting compared to what we see in Atlanta last week. And I looked at that and I just don't understand why people are so quick to label certain things hate crimes, and not label not label other crimes hate crimes. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the race is of the person pulling the trigger, it is a hate crime when you go and use a gun and kill other people. It is a hate crime. It doesn't matter if it is a white man against an Asian, a white man against a black man against a white man. It is all hate crime. Yet, when we look at this story unfold, it's like, why in the world? Why in the world are we, stuck just calling this, oh, it's just another active shooter? I want to share with you guys. A account from a person that was in the grocery store, just so we can get some more context about what was going on as the shooting was happening.
This gentleman is telling.
Let me. I know you hear an echo. Give me 1 second so I can stop that echo. Here we go.
This gentleman is telling us that he was in the store. First off, can you tell me who you are, sir?
Yeah, my name is Ryan Borowski. I live in Boulder.
Tell me what you were doing and what you experienced inside.
I just went in for a soda and some chips, and kind of changed my directions, and heard one loud bang. Thought somebody just dropped something, an employee or something, and then another, and then by the third one, everybody was running. We ran to the back of the store and, found our way into the employee back of house. Some people were kind of running into the pantry. Employees were telling people, this is the exit. We went out the cargo bay and jumped underneath the loading truck that was there and ran up the back of the hill. And now my car is still here, so that's the only reason I'm hanging out. But yeah, it seemed like it happened at this entrance here on the east side, and I was closer to the west side. So it's just, I can't believe it's happening in Boulder, honestly.
And how many people were around? Was it a pretty busy time here inside the store when this happened?
We weren't tripping over each other, but we were single file. Just, somebody had their hand on my back. I had my hand on somebody's back, and we were just saying, go, 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 run. When we got to the back of the store, there were employees who still didn't know what was going on, and we just told them to run, But yeah, I'd say it was decently crowded, but thankfully not too crowded.
And when you were trying to make your way to safety, did you guys see anything involving the shooter, anyone injured, anything that was concerning to you?
After the second shot, I was already in an aisle, and I think it happened up by the cash registers. So yeah, I mean, I told my wife I wasn't close enough to be a hero or anything. So just at that point, it was just run, get out of there, tell everybody to leave. And yeah, that's what we had to do.
Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm happy to see you're safe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, if we just pause and think about just the mayhem. I mean, like you said, I went in to go get a bag of chips and a Coca-Cola or some soda, and shots start getting fired. When I think about this type of stuff, I think, because I live in a metro area, Tampa, Florida, and things like this tend to happen. I would think, to my recollection, it can happen more, I would say, in a city where the population is greater. Therefore, you have a larger percent of people that might one day snap and decide to pull a trigger. I mean, it's just when I hear these stories, it's always a moment of sadness, because our society continues to get to a point where every racial group, it doesn't matter what your race is, everybody in every race group has an ability to snap and be that one domestic terrorist to absolutely derail families' lives and individuals' lives for any sets of reasons. Now, as this story continues to unfold, we'll learn more about motives, this and that, because right now I've been doing a lot of reading. I don't see motives. I don't know who the shooter was. Like I said earlier, I would assume that it is a white man, or probably a white man, because Boulder, Colorado is 90% white. But at the end of the day, we're just sitting here, yet again with a bunch of people who are fractured and experience they really experience hell in a moment like that. And all I could say is my heart goes out to them. And as the story continues to unfold, I would assume we would see some sort of mental health issue there. But I want to jump back to a previous point before we move on to the crisis at the border. And that is, people want to defund the police. They still want to do this. They still think this is a good idea. Some people still think abolishing the police is a good idea. Yet when incidences like this happen, it shows us again and again that the police are actually the heroes, because they are the ones going towards danger while everybody else runs. Think about what that witness just said. We ran. Okay, we were running away. The police officers are the ones who are running towards. And yet there are a group of people who are so reckless in their thinking because they want to completely reimagine. The key word is reimagine. That's what the Democratic ideology is known for the best in my mind, is reimagining everything. They want to reimagine everything so that when crises happen like this, there is who exactly is going to respond. So, you guys should let me know what you guys think about the Boulder, Colorado incident. Unfortunately, there's not more details. And I don't know why we don't know who the shooter is yet. I haven't seen the shooter. I haven't seen pictures of the shooter. If you've seen pictures of the shooter, you could drop a comment below. But I simply have not seen any, and I've been looking, again and again, checking. But with that said, we have to talk about the border crisis. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to call it a crisis. All right. Jen Psaki doesn't want to call it a crisis. Joe Biden has basically been saying, come all you heavy and laden, come to America. We'll take you. Now, oh, hello, Whispering Wind. Oh, he's white. Okay. I'm in Colorado. Awesome. So, I just got done talking about the Boulder, Colorado incident. So thank you for adding that detail. Hello to everybody who's just jumping in. We're about to jump into the White House crisis. And like I was saying, all of these people are in denial. And I really think we have to get to a point where, as Americans, we stop caring about what I would call, we would stop caring about wishful thinking. Oh, we want to be good to Mexico and Mexicans. We want to be good to the foreigner. We want to treat them nice. We want to give them this. We want to give them that. We want to be good with them. And we have to think about the realities of what is before us. The reality is this. We are one country. One country with limited entries, legal entries. That's what I'm talking about. Legal entries into America from the south border. So no matter how good your intentions are, the practicalities, the practical challenges that will face any administration is an influx of too many immigrants and not enough workers to process, police, and enforce immigration laws that would alleviate some of the problems that we see. So Joe Biden, to me, is proving how reckless he is in his thoughts. And he's so good with his recklessness thoughts because he comes across as so nice. He comes across as so caring. Oh, I want to help out the immigrant. And what he has produced is a situation that to keep it without saying anything crazy, he has produced a disgusting situation. And it actually looks, and this is the part that frustrates me the most, is people killed Trump on this. And yet when Joe Biden produces the same or the worst, or worse, I should say, or worse circumstances, then you know what, it just gets glossed over. So I know by now everybody has seen this. So the scoop from Axios: inside a crowded border patrol tent in Donna, Texas. I mean, they talked about the cages during the debates. They talked about, you know, Donald Trump being a vicious racist who doesn't care. He's a xenophobe. Look at this. I mean, words speak words can speak 1,000 words. Excuse me. A picture can say 1,000 words. And what I see here is a situation that I would not want to see any child or family in. Yet this is what this administration has produced. And it's also what every administration will produce, because we have, like I said, we have to get our heads out of this false idea of, oh, let's try to take care of all these people, and the reality that we are one country and we have a fixed set of solutions, and we cannot save the world. We cannot save South America. We cannot save Mexico. We cannot save them. So honestly, yes, the reason why I hate that Joe Biden is president in this moment is because he masqueraded and he walks around like he cares about immigrants when really he doesn't. The only reason he cares about immigrants is because they want to give them voting rights so they can establish a new voting bloc. That is all they're doing when it comes to immigration. That is their play. And they had the actual, they literally, if Donald Trump was in this position right here, there would not be reporters not allowed to go in there. There would not be a resistance to this story being leaked out to the media. If Donald Trump was in office, all of these stories would be picked up and ran through. The only reason why some outlets are talking about it now is because they had to. All right, because we saw and we've seen, all right, exclusive photos from inside a U.S. Customs and Border Protection temporarily overflow facility in Donna, Texas, reveal the crowded makeshift conditions at the border as the government's longer-term child shelters and family detention centers fill up. Why it matters: each of the 8 pods in the so-called soft-sided facility has a 260-person occupancy, said Representative Henry Collar, Democrat, Texas, who provided the photos to Axios to raise awareness about the situation. But as of Sunday, he said one pod held more than 400 unaccompanied male minors. All right, come on, sit with that. 400. This thing is supposed to hold 260 people, and it has 400. All right, Whispering Wind says they are paying to put them up in hotels now. Correction, we the taxpayers are. We're putting them in hotels. This is why I say we have to get rid of this this false, let's do what's right, let's do what sounds good, and we have to focus on the reality. The reality is, if you have a rhetoric and a tone as Joe Biden did, which is very welcoming and saying, "Oh, all you illegal immigrants, we want you to," and now they're trying to backstep all of that. You've already said it, Joe Biden. You've already made the case that you are a kind, friendly president. So these people are coming. But now they're trying to say, now they're trying to say that that oh, don't come. But no, man, you've already said come. These people are coming because you were trying to be the nice non-Trump president. All right. Walter, gun control. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by gun control. If you could elaborate on your comment as to why gun control is a question you have in the context of in the context of this story, but 400 unaccompanied minors in a 260 person occupancy. If this was Donald Trump, the man would be impeached tomorrow for some reason. All right, because of the Biden administration has restricted media coverage at housing facilities, images like these offer a rare window into conditions. Culler, who recently visited a shelter for children, did not tour the Donna facility or take the photo himself. He said the photos were taken over the weekend. What they're saying, Culler described the setting as terrible conditions for the children and said they need to be moved more rapidly into the care of the Department of Health and Human Services. Border Patrol agents are doing the best they can under the circumstances, but there's too many people. The reality is you can't. You can't. There is no good ending in this situation, which is why it is much better to say what former President Donald Trump said, which is, don't come here illegally. I'm going to build that wall. Don't come here. We are going to take you. We are going to deport you. You are going to find resistance, because the Border Patrol is going to do the best that they can under the circumstances, but it's all losers right now. Everybody in this situation is a loser. The United States is going to lose. These immigrants are going to lose. And it's all because the president took a firm stance as being this happy, accepting, oh, I'm not xenophobic. I am going to accept all of you, president. So Border Patrol agents are doing the best they can under the circumstances, but are not equipped to take care of kids and need help from the administration, he said. Well, thank you, Joe Biden, because these people are coming over because of you. We have to stop kids and families from making the dangerous trek across Mexico to come over to the United States. We have to work with Mexico and Central American countries to have them apply for asylum in their countries. Yeah, it's a little too late. You know, honestly, Joe Biden has created this. Donald Trump was think about this. Donald Trump wanted to put a physical wall, but he was actually the wall himself. Think about, I was watching a video today where an ABC reporter was talking to a immigrant that was coming across, and she asked him, is the current administration the reason why you're coming? And this immigrant said, oh, we watched the news and we felt, paraphrasing, we felt like this was the best time to come, that Joe Biden is the more accepting president. So we came because we heard everything he said. That is what an immigrant said about Joe Biden, which is why I'm saying Donald Trump did not only want to build a wall, he was a wall himself, because he never gave soft rhetoric that is inviting a disaster of a problem. All right, Whispering Wind said, yep, one man interviewed said he came because Biden is president. Yeah, I saw that today. He said with Biden and Harris, they will flood the border. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They also said most of the minors are ages 14 to 17, more in that group, more in that age group than younger. So that in itself, think about that. We are about to have a influx of 14 to 17-year-olds in America who don't speak the language, don't have any skills. What are they going to do? They are going to be the next generation of young adults in our country, and they're not going to be equipped to succeed because our president is saying such things to invite these people over. And I understand, okay, now I don't believe Joe Biden is doing this out of goodness, but I understand the whole goodness stance when it comes to immigration. We should accept the foreigner. We should accept the sojourner. I understand that some people 100% have good intentions and have a heart to helping these people. And I respect that when it's true and genuine. Joe Biden is not true and genuine. So I could care less about what he says about doing what's right. Even to the people that have this heart, which I would say, it is a virtuous thing. You can't just move from what sounds good in theory to what's actually going to be good in practicality. Because what we have here, no matter how good the intentions are, this is the unintended consequences. This is it. This picture right here. This is the unintended consequence. All of the cages that these people wanted to talk about, that Donald Trump was putting kids in because they were pushing propaganda. They were pushing propaganda because they wanted to get the man out of office. Now this is the same thing, but now with Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi is going to open up her mouth and say, "Oh, well, we inherited this from the previous administration." No, Nancy, you idiot. Okay, the previous administration built these cages. Remember Barack Obama, and when Joe Biden was vice president, and they used these exact same facilities. Okay, so no, the previous administration did not pass this to you. Actually, the funny part about these guys, oh my goodness, Barack Obama and Joe Biden gave Trump inherited their problem, and it's a mess. Think about the restrictions that I was talking to my dad about this. All right. And me and my dad see this completely different. All right, three things I'm grateful for: God, Jesus, family, and the USA. Yes, yes, yes. Amen. I definitely affirm that. No gun control. Yes. The Second Amendment. We should have it. It doesn't exclude high capacity firearms. So all these gun control activists, they can shut up and go read the Second Amendment, and try to revise it as much as they want. The fact of the matter is, we live in a country where we are supposed to have gun and bullets. So the point before I jumped on that little tangent. So me and my dad see this very differently. When it comes to border control, and in case you didn't know, I come from a Hispanic family, and so some in my family are very tender to these wounds and tender to this. But at the end of the day, the way I rationalize all of it is, this is such a big problem that there really is no real solution if people are not going to go through the system. If people are not going to go through the system and get legal residency like thousands of people do every year, the people that decide that they don't want to wait and go through the system, they are just going to create a bigger and bigger and bigger problem. And this problem is going to just be felt throughout the entire history of the United States, because there will always be people who don't want to go through the process the right way. They want to come here illegally, and it is what it is. So there really is no good solutions. I think Donald Trump had one of the best solutions: build a wall and say, if you come, you got to come here legally. And how simple that sounds, yet it is something that I respected, and then was straightforward, and it skipped all of the politics, and it was the most practical, down to earth action plan that I could think of. And now we have the opposite, where this is what we get. And it's a shame that the media doesn't want to really touch this, because they don't want to smear their puppet, Joe Biden. So continuing to read from the article, on MSNBC, he compared the administration's actions to those of Trump administration. We are not expelling children, girls 5, 7, 9 years old, back into the desert of Mexico, back into the hands of traffickers. The bottom line is this: facilities are at capacity under coronavirus protocols, and the Rio Grande Valley sector, which includes Donna, has far exceeded even its non-pandemic limits, which is why FEMA has been involved. And remember, FEMA only gets involved when there's a crisis. As of Saturday, there were 10,000 migrants in CBP custody overall. Nearly half were unaccompanied minors, thousands of whom had been waiting for more than 3 days in Border Patrol facilities, according to the government data provided by Axios and another source. I mean, so just look at these pictures. Let's look at this. The only difference between these pictures and what happened over the past several years is now Joe Biden is president instead of Donald Trump. And like I've already argued and said, I believe that Joe Biden made this worse because now these facilities are overrun. They are overrun and people don't know what to do. There's only so much manpower. There's only so much America can do for the world. And if that sounds harsh, it's not harsh, it's reality. All right, I want you guys to I want to share with you guys a clip. So the White House declines to call migrant border surge a crisis. Go ahead and take a listen to this.
Peter. Good evening, Brett. It's been almost 2 weeks since President Biden said anything about what's going on at the border. The administration is not hinting about any presidential trips down to the Southwest, instead dedicating this entire week as of right now to selling a stimulus package that already passed.
Shots in arms and money in pockets. That's important.
As the U.S. government hears 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine distributed and 100 million stimulus checks deposited, the president is taking a victory lap.
I can report this isn't just on the way, it's here. Sooner than many ever thought possible.
The American Rescue Plan has already passed. Now the president will promote it. Stops are scheduled in Pennsylvania and Georgia. As Republicans argue, the president needs to pencil in a trip to the southern border.
This is where he should bring Air Force One.
The Biden White House blames border problems on President Trump. But critics are pointing to the calendar.
Empirically, it is entirely. You can't help but notice that the administration changes and there's a surge.
That surge has feds looking to fill a convention center in Dallas with up to 3,000 migrant teenagers for up to 90 days, according to the Associated Press.
The Biden border crisis, though, was created by Joe Biden's promises of amnesty and open borders and free health care for illegals during the campaign.
Some Democrats are concerned, too. Congresswoman
Oh,
Ilhan
gosh,
Omar
here's
leads a
this
group of
idiot.
24 Democratic lawmakers asking ICE to stop placing migrants in local or state jails, writing conditions in municipal, county, and state jails and prisons contracting with ICE to detain immigrants mirror the systemic abuses in privately operated immigration detention facilities, including medical neglect, long-term use of solitary confinement, sexual assault, and lack of access to legal.
So here she goes with the key word, systemic abuses. So conditions in municipal, county, and state jails and prisons contracting with ICE to detain immigrants mirror the systemic abuses that Donald Trump used to practice, and now it's within my own party. Yes, Ilhan Omar, now you are part of the systemic racism and the systemic abuse. Congratulations. The thing you hated, you are now exactly it. These people are so twisted and so upside down that they don't understand reality. The reality is this. The only way to fix the border problem is to implement what Donald Trump was trying to implement, a physical barrier, okay, and a stern rhetoric, a stern tone that says you cannot come here unless you have a legal path of entry. Everybody wants to talk. I mean, at the end of the day, these people are doing something illegal. And I understand, like I said earlier, I understand all the moral arguments. Love the sojourner. Okay, love that, be all this. But we cannot allow law breaking and things that are going to destroy America, all for the sake of, we want to do what sounds good. All right, Tomb 2, Omar should be banned from Congress. Yes. From her past dealings, my opinion. No, I think that's fact. she was caught ballot harvesting. I'm pretty sure that was validated. So with that said, how can a elected congresswoman be caught in a fraudulent scheme that is has to do with ballots, and you're still in Congress? I don't understand that. From my understanding, that story has still not been discredited. So yeah, I agree. She should not be in office. A lot of these people shouldn't be in office. The only reason why they're in office is because they say the right words. Systemic abuses. I am convinced, guys, that if I was to run for office here in Florida, all I have to do is put on a fairly good outfit and say equity, equality, systemic racism, white supremacy, and just repeat that. Equity, equality, systemic racism, white supremacy. Just repeat their words. Republicans are fascists. Republicans are they're the ones who hate. They're the ones who hate diversity. All I would have to do is speak their language, and I would be able to get a spot in Florida as a Democratic nominee, because all they do is they sound good to uneducated ears. They sound good because they say nice sounding words. They say things like equality. Oh, the systemic abuses is what she says here. I mean, these are all just buzzwords. They have their own language. Critical race theory is its own language. Critical race theory is its own religion. And that is what these people believe. They believe that America is deeply systemically racist. Therefore, the only way to fix America is to uproot all the whiteness and interject equality so that black and brown people can have more power. It's all about power, guys. If you take nothing away from anything that you learn about critical race theory, I want you guys to take this away from critical race theory, is that it is about power grabbing. It is about power. It is about power. It is not about black and brown people getting what they deserve, or having a better foot in this world. It's about power, and it's about overthrowing the white people as they see it, so that black and brown people can advance in this world. But these Democrats, all of this is just a bunch of blah blah blah. All right, systemic abuses. Great job, Ihan. You are part of the party now that promotes systemic injustice. Oh, the irony.
Counsel. To date, the White House has avoided calling the situation at the border a crisis.
We recognize this is a big problem. We recognize this is a problem. It's a complicated problem.
Crisis.
But now that the DHS is directing FEMA resources to the border, what does the White House call what's happening?
Does FEMA's arrival at the border mean that the administration feels what is happening down at the border is a disaster?
I know that we always get into the fun of labels around here, but I would say our focus is on solutions.
FEMA, though, specifically, their mission is helping people before, during, and after disasters.
I will say that FEMA is there to help ensure that the people who are at the border, who are coming across the border, have access to HHS and ORR shelters, that we can swiftly place them with vetted families.
I also had a chance to ask Jen Psaki whether or not the White House is moving on from their message to migrants that now is not the time to come, since FEMA is saying they will shelter unaccompanied kids for months. And she said they're trying to have both those messages out there, right?
Yeah. Just in case. Both of those messages.
It's saying they will shelter unaccompanied kids for months. And she said they're trying to have both those messages out there.
Yeah, that's you can't have both messages out there. You simply can't have both messages out there. You have to have one message. Don't come illegally. Period. You want to know how not to get into a border crisis? Have one singular uniformed message. Don't come. I honestly like I honestly feel like we could be better politicians than the people that are in power. And we are common people. Like I'm sitting here in my garage. I'm in my garage doing a live stream with a handful of people watching. And I feel like I could do a better job of being a government official than these people, because what I see is that they just complicate everything. They make everything super complicated. And that's why I was attracted to Donald Trump, was because he was simple in what he said, and and not only simple, he was effective. Democrats and other intellectuals, they want to make it seem like the best answer is the most complex answer, the most nuanced answer. That's the best answer. But, having a big brain doesn't result in great results. So, what I've seen, what I've pulled away from these past several years is that, knowledge in and of itself is overrated in intellect, because some of these people are brilliant. Some of these people are brilliant. They do not lack smarts in academia. What they lack is a vision and an understanding that there are limitations to what America can do for the world. They lack that. They want to have this superhero mentality. And you realize that what I just said doesn't involve intellect. It involves like, well, we're limited, okay, and there's only so much we could do. So how about we just do the best with what we got? And what we got is a couple entrances at the south border, and we have a system that, yes, can be improved, but at the end of the day, there are thousands upon thousands of immigrants that are coming into America every year legally. It's not like, and I hate this, right? As a young Hispanic man, I'll give you guys a short story real quick. Bear with me. I was at the beach last summer, and I was walking on the sidewalk with my family, and I had my buggy behind me. I was pulling all of our stuff with my family. My wife was there, my two children at the time, and a Jeep pulls up onto the sidewalk in front of me and cuts me off. Like they're like 10 feet ahead of me, but they cut off the pathway on the sidewalk, and they just stopped there. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna unload really, really quick, but they didn't unload quick. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I let's just go around. So we went around the right side of their car, and the way that the landscape was the sidewalk was obviously flat, but then there was a slope right next to the sidewalk. So when I tried to go around the sidewalk, I was on the slope, and my cart tipped over and it smashed into their Jeep. Okay. Long story short, the lady says a bunch of words to me, like it was my fault. What the F are you doing? And then one of the things that she said was, you don't even effing belong here. And I was like, man, okay, this lady is tripping. I didn't go back and forth with her. I didn't even get involved with name calling or anything like that. I told her about Jesus Christ. I said, God bless you, took my family, and we left. But in her mind, probably because of the media, she probably has this this prejudice or this thought that a lot of Hispanic people are here illegally. Like we're not able to come here on legal terms because the media talks so much about the crisis of immigration that it would seem that most people here are illegal anyway. Like you guys realize there are so many legal Hispanics here that this whole conversation, when it comes to immigrants and this and that and border crisis, it's like, America's actually doing a better job than you think. Despite what the media says, America's doing a very good job for I think the last number that I saw, and you guys could definitely fact check me on this one. I think the annual number of illegal immigrants that get citizenship in America was 75,000 a year, something like that. With that said, we're doing good. We are not. It's not like we are unable to process immigrants. But when you just listen to stories about this crossing, it becomes obvious that there is a motive behind all this crap. All right, and I want to show you guys. A article from the New York Post, because this is absolutely sickening, and I hate this. Journalists granted zero access to cover border crisis under Biden. The reason why is because the media knows that they have been caught in the hypocrisy. They have been caught in the absolute lunacy. They look like idiots because they wanted to paint a picture about Donald Trump being a vicious racist and putting kids in cages. And now, now your man is doing what Donald Trump did because there's nothing else to do with them. Which is why I said in the beginning of this segment, every president moving forward is going to be faced with this problem because there's one America, one south border, only a couple entrances. And what are you supposed to do? Put yourself as the president of the United States and really think about this. How do you mitigate hundreds of thousands of people trying to get over here illegally? If you operate using feelings, you're going to be a failure. If you operate on niceness, you're going to be a failure, because this is not about being nice. This is about doing what's right for the American citizens that are here and ensuring that all of the illegal immigrants that are trying to enter the wrong way get rejected. And it's not about being mean or nice or good or bad. It's about doing what's right. And at the end of the day, legal crossing is right. Illegal crossing is wrong. All right, I'm gonna look at some of these comments. Tomb2, I just shared your YouTube video on my Twitter and Facebook. You are a great speaker. Thank you so much for that. You know, sometimes I talk and I'm like, do I sound like an idiot? Like sometimes I talk and I know some people have this too, but for like a split second, I forget like my point. And I'm like, crap, what is in my head? And then so I try to like freelance some of my speech, and then my point comes back to me. So thank you for that. Thank you for that encouragement. Really do appreciate that. I'm a definite rookie when it comes to this. This is my third live stream. First one got taken off. So thank you. Tomb2 says, do you know why we would do a better job than many in Washington, D.C.? Because we would not take bribes, and money from special interest people, organizations, and groups. I mean, you know, they at the end of the day, if you're a people pleaser, you're going to get swept away into whatever interests the prevailing interest is at that moment. So once you start, and that's why Donald Trump, thank you for bringing this up. That's why Donald Trump was a great candidate, was because he didn't need their money. He didn't need their power. He didn't need them to accomplish his agenda. He is like the only human being in American history that had that much status and pull that he didn't need them, which is why he was the outsider that came in that rejuvenated an American government at a time that it needed to be rejuvenated. And now that we've seen him move on from his past presidency, now we see a return to what the Democrats have been pushing forward for years, which is failure. They are failure. All right, Whispering Wind says, but see, it's turning people ugly. She acted just the way they wanted her to, causing hate and divide. Shame on her. Yeah, that's what that's what you know. That's what politics is. When I everybody knows this. When you grow up, you say, okay, don't talk about politics. Well, why? Oh, well, it's divisive. So politics is inherently divisive because it's not even politics. When you think about it, it's us who are divisive. People are divisive because when we latch on to an idea, we will fight for that idea. We will argue that idea, and we will go toe to toe with anybody for that idea. And our pride will drive our idea to the point where it will become a divisive tool. So it's like when you enter into conversations about politics or this and that, just keep your own pride in check when it's when it's in a formal situation. I think in public spaces, like what Candace Owens does, that needs to be you need to come out in front of the camera and you need to set the tone. Like, we're not going to take your crap. You're not going to call us a bunch of racists and we're just going to sit here and say, oh, I guess you're right. No, shut the hell up. We have a message to say. We believe systemic racism is a conspiracy theory. Whiteness is a conspiracy theory cult lie. And, and the divide can easily come from us too. But we have to be, more mindful of, all right, don't let my pride come in. But at the same time, when it's time to fight for truth out loud, you just keep fighting. You just keep fighting and you keep stating the facts, because what the Democrats do very well is they state lies over and over and over and over and over that it sounds true. All right, the man's neighbor, why is it we didn't have any shootings under Trump? That's a good question. Are you sure we didn't? I mean, I off the top of my head, it's hard for me to think that there were no big time shootings in 4 years. I understand the correlation you're making, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, the past shooting, in Colorado, I touched on this earlier before I jumped on this topic of the border immigration. I mean, race is not an issue here because Boulder, Colorado is 90% white. And Whispering Wind is from Colorado, and she has confirmed and said that the shooter was white. So if 90% of Boulder is white, that means that this man was shooting at a whole bunch of other white people. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to your question. Why is it we didn't have any shootings under Trump? I don't know. But what I do know, jumping back to the segment at hand, is that these people don't want us to know the facts. And the facts are there has been zero access up until recently to the border crisis. The news media has been granted zero access at the U.S.-Mexico border under President Biden. According to a Getty Images photographer on the ground at the crossing, journalists have flocked to the border in recent weeks to cover the crisis as tens of thousands of Central American migrants, including unaccompanied children, attempted the dangerous journey. But according to lensman John Moore, they've encountered restrictive conditions with U.S. authorities hampering their ability to tell the story. I respectfully ask U.S. Custom and Border Protection to stop blocking media access to their border operations, tweeted Moore on Friday. I have photographed CBP under Bush, Obama, and Trump, but now zero access is granted to the media. And you know what their response is to this? Well, COVID-19, you have to understand that we are in a pandemic. We are in a pandemic, so we have to keep all of this stuff. We have to keep people out. No, you realize how hard your media went for you in framing Trump as a racist and Joe Biden as this lovable grandpa who loves immigrants, that now that the fact of the matter is that Joe Biden has put these people in cages because there's no other option. I'm not even mad really that Joe Biden has done this. Every president's going to do this. This is the only option. What I'm mad is that they're liars and that they masquerade like they care about immigrants and they care about foreign policy and they care about all these things, but really they don't care about these people. These are their voters. These are their next voters. Let them in. Let them in so that they can vote for us. That's just personally what I believe. Let them in so that they can vote for us. So, like I said, I don't care that Joe Biden did this to them. Don't care. Because the reality is, if I was president, the same thing would happen. If you were president, these people would be in cages too. Probably less of them because we would have very harsher rhetoric and we would continue building the wall. But still, these people would be in cages. So I'm not mad at Joe Biden for doing this. I'm mad at the media for portraying him as something that he's not. He's a fraud. And I'm upset and just I don't like how Joe Biden used this as an attack during the presidential debates, lying to a whole bunch of people on national TV. And yet, look at you now, Joe Biden. You knew this was coming. That's the thing. This guy's not stupid. Yes, his mind is deteriorating, but you really think he didn't know that when he got into the office that he would be utilizing the same facilities that Trump was using? It's all a show, guys. So it's a show, and that is why I'm conservative and I believe in less government, because these people don't care about us. They care about special interest. They care about their interest. And they come into politics, with a $100,000 net worth or something like that. Completely arbitrary numbers. I'm just making an example. And they leave millionaires like Barack Obama. All right, so jumping back to the New York Post article, in the thread, Moore included dramatic shots of the crossing, which, unable to work in the U.S., he said he took from the Mexican side of the border using telephoto lens. Until now, U.S. photojournalists haven't needed to stand in another country to photograph what's happening in the United States. Stop right there. Yes, that is freakishly alarming. That our photojournalists are not allowed to take pictures on our own soil because of COVID restrictions. No, because of everything like I just said. It's a cover-up, and we all see through it. They don't want everybody to see how crooked they are. And it would be one thing if you would just come out and say the truth from the beginning. Hey, immigration is a big problem. These facilities are going to continue to be used. We are going to strive to ensure that all of the immigrants enter legally. We are going to combat illegal immigration. We are going to, of course, a Democrat would never say this. So this is wishful thinking. We are going to continue ensuring a physical barrier to the southern border, but just be honest up front. Like, don't act like you don't see this coming. You didn't know this was going to happen? You didn't know Guadalupe was going to come over the border? You didn't know that? No, you knew. Moore said that he and other journalists have been escorted away from the crossing by Border Patrol agents recently. There's no modern precedent for a full physical ban on media access to CBP border operations, he wrote. To those who might say, cut them some slack, they are dealing with the situation. I'd say that showing the U.S. response to the current immigration surge is exactly the media's role. Photographing Border Patrol agents and immigrant encounters can and has been done respectfully without interfering with operations, he continued. So, guys, as you guys can see, it's just a bunch. I honestly, and I understand, and I'm not going to speak on what we all believe about the election 2020. I don't feel like getting a strike on my channel. But it's hard to believe that there were actual people that voted for these people. I mean, it's like, out of everything, that's that is a little disheartening that there are a group of Americans, and it's not like all of these people are evil. My parents voted for Joe Biden. Okay. My dad did because he believed the hype or the propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist, this and that. Okay, he believed it. I went back and forth with my dad for months trying to make him see, like, no, if you vote for Joe Biden, it's actually going to be worse. You know, so the reason why I share that story with you is because the people on the other side are not all, crazy lunatics. Like, my dad has good intentions. It's just he believed what he believed because he ingested a certain news outlet, and he ingested heavy, left-leaning outlets, and he ingested a little bit of right-leaning outlets. But at the end of the day, even my dad was on the other side of this issue. So I don't understand how people voted for that. And like I said, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, if you want to talk about voting, I get it. I'm not going to speak on that. But it sucks that, and I'll say this confidently and clearly, the conservative principles and the Republican Party, if operated by real Republicans and real conservatives, if operated by people like Ron DeSantis, Rand Paul, Donald Trump, if operated by people like that, has the answers for America, and America would progress and prosper because we have the right solutions. And that's not being cocky. It's being, hey, it's been proven. It's been proven that smaller government is better. It's been proven that a stronger border is better. It's been proven that lower taxes are better. It's been all of these things have been proven. It's been proven that Americans should have the right, and it's been a fundamental truth in American history to own guns and firearms, and there really shouldn't be any restrictions, because the founding fathers, they would have a seizure today if they saw what some of these politicians were talking about in terms of gun control. It's obvious we have the majority of the right answers when it comes to holistically moving America forward. But at the end of the day, we see it one way and they see it another way. Jump into some of these comments. Christy M, hello. Las Vegas, October 7th, 2017. Same day Tom Petty died is why I remember the date. Sad day. Well, that was probably a response to a shooting. Yeah, a shooting. Yeah, I mean, there had to be a shooting under Donald. There is no way in 4 years there wasn't any shootings. Now, the man's neighbor, I would say, okay, there was less certain types of crime, and Donald Trump was a lot harsher on immigrants committing crimes, because at the end of the day, he wanted to just boot them out. The ones who can't live here and assimilate to the culture, they just need to be gone. MS-13 gang members should not be here. So I understand what you're saying. Let's see. Candy, hello. We know Mexico is a hot spot, and we don't want these journalists dead because we don't want to have to buy new ones. Could you elaborate on what you mean? I'm not sure I understand fully. It's probably me and my lack of understanding. We know Mexico is a hot spot, and we don't want these journalists dead because we don't want to have to buy new ones. Oh, okay, yeah. No, yeah, I mean, Mexico obviously is a hot spot, and these people are running for a reason. These people don't want to live in their countries because their countries are a hot spot. All right, looking at some of these. So Tomb 2 said the Las Vegas shooting was a setup, either drugs or gun running. That's my understanding of that massacre. Yeah, I mean, and there's tragedy every year under every administration, every month. There's going to be something in a country that spans from Washington to New York, New York to Florida, Florida to California. When you think about the sheer size of the country and the population, I mean, why are we surprised when people kill people? There's so many people that you can't blame a president for every single thing. You know what happened in Boulder, Colorado? You know what? Dude either had a mental health issue or he was just a hardened, seasoned criminal. Regarding why, so Kenny says, regarding why they want to keep the journalists away from the border. Yeah, and they also want to keep the journalists away from the border because they want to hide what's being talked. They want to hide this. All right, they want to hide this. They don't want this known. They don't want this known. I mean, look at this is a breath of fresh air. Every time I listen to this woman, I feel motivated. I feel motivated to continue to do YouTube. I feel encouraged. I feel encouraged about America. All right. You guys know who it is. You guys know who it is. You guys feel the same way. I know you do. All right. So I got this from the News Junkies cartoons.
Actually, the facts are these. There are more children, about 600-700 more children, unaccompanied children coming over the border. This is a humanitarian challenge to all of us.
This is a humanitarian challenge to all of us. But when Donald Trump was in office, it wasn't a humanitarian challenge. It was a xenophobic, vicious, racist charge. It wasn't a challenge. It was a charge. She charged that administration with evil. And now when it's her in the driver's seat and her party in the driver's seat, now it's a challenge.
What the administration has inherited is a broken system at the border, and they are.
I can't. It's so hard to listen to this woman. You didn't inherit that system at the border. You helped create it, woman. You helped create it. Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden preceded Donald Trump. Donald Trump inherited what was at the border. So no, it wasn't just strictly, Donald, so there it is. How great of a job is it? How great of a job is it? When the camera's on you, was it my fault? It was their fault. I'm innocent. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I mean, it was them. It was the other administration. Couldn't be us because we love these people. We want to do what's right for America. It can't be us. I mean, how great of a job is that? How great of a job does she have where she can eat, $20 tubs of ice cream, live in a great area, talk about systemic racism, put her dentures back in and come out and masquerade, tell everybody else that they can't, use they can't use the salons and stuff, but then you could go out and do it. This woman is not a good woman.
They're working to correct that in the children's interest. I'm so pleased that the president, as a temporary measure, has sent FEMA to the border in order to help facilitate the children going from 72-hour issue into where they are cared for as they are transferred into family homes or homes that are safe for them to be. So this, again, is a transition for what was wrong before to what is right. Of course, we have to.
She really could say that. This is a transition from what was wrong before to what's right. That's what it is. It is a transition from what was wrong before to what's right. We can't forget this. Woman, Nance. So you're saying that this is a transfer from what was wrong to what's now good. What about these pictures is better? Huh? What about these pictures is better? So in what way are you transforming? Wait, everybody see that? These kids are sleeping in aluminum foil wraps. Look at this. And she really is up there saying what she's saying, getting paid a ton of money to spew absolute propaganda lies. I do not like that woman. I really don't. I don't understand how. I mean, I understand why California is a terrible state because they have terrible leaders, but it just doesn't make sense to me that these type of people. I can't even finish watching that video because she talks and everybody kind of uses their hands, but she doesn't settle me. I feel like, okay, she's lying to us and she's not fully there, yet she has all that power. That's scary. If you guys remember, so this clip was in 2018. All right. This clip was in 2018 when those 2014 photos of detained children used as a swipe against Trump. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing. All right. Because I'm about done playing videos. I'm going to play a couple minutes, maybe not even that. All right. But just to show you guys the marathon of this border immigration crisis. I mean, this is what Donald Trump had to go against. A nasty, a disgusting, lying Democratic Party that painted him as a villain, yet now they're doing the exact same thing.
Take these images of immigrant children sleeping in cages. Journalists, politicians, Obama flags, they all blame. These images of immigrant children sleeping in cages. Journalists, politicians, Obama flags, they all blame Trump. Turns out the photos are 4 years old when Obama was in charge. Whoops. Then there's...
You know what? We don't even real quick. Do you guys want to watch that video? If you don't want to watch that video, we can move on. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think real quick, because and I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this shot right here while I let you guys decide if you want to consume that content, or do you want to just push past it. The blankets, Nancy, you just said you guys heard it with me. What's happening now is we are inheriting a system, and then we are moving towards what's going to make it better. That's what she just said. These pictures are from 2014. All right, Whispering Wind, I'm gonna play it. Thank you for your feedback. This is from 2014, and it's the same stuff. So Nancy, when Obama was in office, it was the same practice. When Trump was in office, it was the same practice. Now that Biden's back in office, you're saying you inherited a problem from Trump that actually stemmed and could be traced back to Barack Obama, and yet you want to play this political game of, it's not me, it's not my fault, it's their fault, it's the Trump did it. Didn't you see what happened on January 6th? It was his fault. Let's continue to watch this clip.
Whoops. Then there's, this is even better, this photo. An all baby seat immigration detention bus, also blamed on Trump. It was called a prison bus for babies by an anchor, a prison bus for babies. How could anyone say that with a straight face and believe it? A journalist. I mean, who would make a prison bus for babies? It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. A prison bus for babies. But you'll believe anything if you hate Trump, even though this photo was also from Obama's era, and no, it wasn't a prison bus for babies.
Yeah. And guys, that's why propaganda is real. That is why propaganda is real. Candy says, no, that's why we watch you, so we don't have to watch and ingest the Machiavellian malignant media. Touche. That is a good one. I like that. But they're there, though. They're there. Candy, I would say for all of us, we should at least ingest some of it to know what the narratives are. Like, I don't like critical race theory. I don't like it, but I ingest it so that I could be aware of just how deeply flawed it is. So likewise, when I play these clips, they're just more for us to really understand, okay, they're actually more jacked up than we think. Like, yeah, we know that they're frauds and liars, but here is their fraud and lying played out. All right. So as you guys can see, all of that, there's so much hypocrisy in this immigration border crisis. It is a crisis, Jen Psaki. You could say it. You could say it. Pelosi, it's a crisis, not a humanitarian issue. It is a crisis. So go ahead and say it. So, that's my final thoughts on that. It is a crisis because Joe Biden wanted to be Mr. Nice Guy and appeal to the left. Now he has a problem on his hands that he can't handle, he can't fix, which is why he still hasn't gone down to the south border, because he knows when he goes down there, it's going to be a realization, and where he travels, the media is going to be focused as well, and the media will get full first-hand look as to just how jacked up this whole situation is. So no, Joe Biden is not going to go over there for a little bit, because he knows that he's an absolute failure when it comes to border, securing the border. So yeah, Candy, as long as we don't internalize it. No, don't internalize it. You can't internalize it. There's no way, Candy, I promise you, me and you could sit in front of CNN for 6 hours for the next 2 months. We won't internalize it. What we will do is we will be able to see through their lies every single time. But that's because we've already been educated and we've already done a little bit more digging, and we've seen multiple different arguments, and we understand that their argument has very little merit to it. So no, heck no, we will never internalize that. Tomb 2 says January 6th, who was in charge of security? That would be Muriel Bowser, the mayor of DC, a black woman who has taken very little flack for her absolute failure to getting the police ready, to getting the city ready. So January 6th, they want to point it, white person, it's a white person's fault. Look at all those white supremacists. Well, what about the black leaders who failed to secure the Capitol building? How about that? How about the people who failed? The people, not just black people. It was the DC mayor that failed, and it was everybody else who was in that city failed. All right. Whispering Wind, just wait until they come out and say Trump really did win the election. Oh, don't do that. That would only happen on a media platform that Trump built himself, because that type of information would be so suppressed on all of these sites that would never be able to be leaked again. Did you see they're going after Kavanaugh again? Oh gosh. You know why they're probably going after Kavanaugh? Because they got to get their eyes off of Cuomo. All right. Cuomo looks to be a creepy old man. Okay. Now, is he in fact guilty? No. All I'm saying is what he looks like to me. Does that convict him? No. He's still technically innocent, because remember, in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. So he is innocent, but to me, he looks like a creep. To me, he looks like a man he's a horny old man, and he has a lot of access to younger women, and he tries to make advances on them. I mean, why else do you put your hand on the neck and face of a woman? All right, Mike T, let me guess. You think Trump deserves no blame for all those crazy, dumb right-wingers acting a fool on January 6th? You Trump supporters are funny, delusional, but funny. All right, so I'll say this. Tell me what blame do you put on him? Because you can only really say a few things, and then everything else, you can really only charge him. If you're coming at me that way, Mike T, you can really only say that he incited the insurrection, or he didn't. Which one was it? It's one or the other. Did Donald Trump incite the riot, or did he not? Because in the impeachment articles, it was he incited it, period. But the other side of that is he didn't. So you tell me, how much blame do you give Donald Trump? You're telling me you're all the way on this side and saying that he incited it? Or are you a little bit less than that, saying, well, he has something to do with it, but we don't have enough to charge him with inciting the riot? Where are you with that? Trump is a creep. Do you call him out? Did you call him out? Are you just a hypocrite? When was he a creep with when exactly was he a creep when he was in his political office from 2016 to 2020? Or are you talking about his past private life? Lots of blame, not all, but a huge part of it. He incited the insurrection for sure. I mean, you can hold to that. You could hold to that view, but at the end of the day, and this, honestly, let me say this. This is the scary part, is that, or for you would be, you would have rather, Mike T, you would have rather like this scenario, but Donald Trump's impeachment was solely in the hands of whichever political party had the power in that moment. So if Donald Trump would have been subjected to this current state of the political climate, where the Democrats have the House of Representatives and the Senate, he would have been impeached. Boom, done, gone, said so. But because the Senate is ran by Republicans, and not just that, but because they looked at the lack of evidence to say he incited it, he ended up being acquitted. So to me, it's like whichever party is in power, they're going to have the most say on what to do when it comes to impeachment. Now, in my view, I'm grateful that the Republicans were in charge because they had the most accurate view. Tell me this, Mike T. How do you incite a riot when you explicitly say, I want you to peacefully and patriotically protest and make your voices heard? How does a man saying peacefully and patriotically protest equal insurrection? How? It's a real question. And that is what got him off. That's partly of what got him off. And when he said fight like hell, I did a video on this when it broke, and I showed that he used the words fight like hell throughout his whole time in office. He talked about taxes. He said fight like hell. He talked about other issues. He said fight like hell. The phrase fight like hell was something that he used in his speech. And then what you got to also understand is during the trial, Trump's lawyers played the times where high-flying Democrats used the same wording, fight like hell. Remember Maxine Waters? She looked like an idiot. Tell them they're not welcome here. So no, Mike T, he did not incite the insurrection. If the Democratic cronies were in charge, then they would have said yes. But still, this is not opinion based. This is fact based. And when the facts come out, it's very hard for you to prove that he legitimately incited an insurrection, which is why they ended up losing. The scary part is if the Democrats were in charge, he would have been impeached for something that he's not responsible for. So Whispering Wind says it's already been proven that Antifa and BLM had set up part of the 6. It wasn't patriots, so ingest the truth, not CNN propaganda. Trump haters will never believe the truth, even if it's a proven fact. They're too blind to see the truth. I mean, Mike T, I just, that's my question. How does a man who says peacefully and patriotically protest, how is he in your mind guilty? And whether you're still here or not, I'll wait. Well, I'll continue with my last point. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, was just touch on the Derek Chauvin trial, and we have the jurors set in place, and and the arguments are going to be starting to get heard, I believe, next week. So I want to touch on this story, and that'll be it for tonight. Thank you everybody for sticking with me. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you drop a comment after the video is over, just so that some of the comments can be recorded. Excuse me, because I don't think these comments get uploaded when the live stream gets uploaded. So if you guys could just do me a favor and either go through some of my recent videos. I would really appreciate if you guys watched my my video from earlier, the vlog, when I'm in my car talking about conservative principles, a conservative principle. If you could do me a favor and share that video, because I think it is very concise, and it's timely, and it's really something that everybody needs to hear. Conservatives understand gratitude more than a lot of people in this world. All right, Uber to your mom's house. What's up, man? Hopefully all Democrats and liberals get the virus and then on ventilators. The country would be better without leftists. I can't say I agree with you because I don't want my live stream to get taken down. So I don't agree with you, sir. I think you're an evil person. I think you should be canceled. Just kidding. All right. There were bombs found where the Capitol buildings were breached. Yep. Love the live streams. Thank you. Thank you for supporting Whispering Wind. Hopefully one day we look up and my channel has a lot more traffic. Real quick, before I forget, I am now on Patreon. So if you guys would be so kind and generous to consider supporting your boy on Patreon, I would appreciate that. So now I have 3 methods of crowd support, which is PayPal, Cash App, and now Patreon. So consider supporting me on either of the 3. But thank you guys so much for just being with me during this presentation, because, you know, at the end of the day, the conservative community, no matter how big, you know, no matter if it's Salty Cracker and his hundreds of thousands of people, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, you know, Brandon Tatum, no matter who, me, all right, it doesn't matter. As long as there are conservatives out there speaking and letting other people know, like, hey, no, you can stand up for what you believe in. No, you're not a racist. This is a democratic conspiracy theory that they're trying to push called critical race theory and whiteness. As long as there's a group of us that are able to be here and be strong, you know, conservative values are going to be moving forward. So last thing before we close, because this trial is going to set off fireworks. So the Derek Chauvin trial, 14 jurors are seated to hear the case of George Floyd killing. All right. And of course, George Floyd, some is a martyr. A 14th juror was selected in the former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's murder trial on Monday, 1 week before opening arguments. So here's the key thing. Opening arguments are scheduled for next week, March 29th. So this is when we start getting into the juicy details. We start getting into the arguments, because in my playlist about Derek Chauvin and his trial, you know, I've given my reasons why I believe he is innocent. All right, but to then, and it's all, you know, it's insightful speculation, because I think these are the only arguments that I presented that are going to be used. But next week we are going to see it in action, and we are going to see whether or not Derek Chauvin will be convicted of some murder count or manslaughter, or will he walk as a free man? And if he walks as a free man, I don't care that Minneapolis will burn. I care about the courts getting it right. And I don't think it's right to charge Derek Chauvin for murder. I really don't. Chauvin, who is white, is charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in last year's killing of George Floyd, who was black. Video recordings showed that Floyd was held face down on the asphalt, and Chauvin kept his knee on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. No, I wanted to do a video. About this because if you guys remember, Dave Chappelle did a comedy skit called 846, and it was in response to George Floyd. And 846 is the representation of the time spent that Derek Chauvin had on George Floyd's neck. Now, 846 is significant to this trial because at the end of the day, that was a long time to keep a knee on somebody. But what also has been pushed down is the 10 minutes or so, the around 10 minutes of the officers trying to get the man into the vehicle, get him into the cop car, which he resisted. So if you're going to say 846, we should also have the time that the officers took trying to detain, arrest, and put Floyd into a cop car, where my guess and what I would say is he would probably still be alive today if he didn't have a heart attack on the way to the precinct. But yeah, I saw that Dave Chappelle. Yeah, 846. That's what he said. No reference to the time it took to get George Floyd from the corner of the street to the car, to where George Floyd then threw himself on the ground. So, 846 is 846, but I'm pretty sure I watched the video multiple times. It was something around also around 8 minutes of them trying to get him in the cop car too. But I'll read a couple comments before I close. He'll get off. And they will burn several cities to the ground. He's guilty of being a dumbass, not a murderer. I agree. I don't think he's a murderer. I don't think you can prove he's a murderer. Now, do we know 100%? No. But to the law, you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt to convict somebody of murder. Think of what you're saying. You convict somebody, you charge somebody of murder, you are saying that they took life and their life should be taken because they took somebody's life. It is a big charge. So to say that you're going to convict somebody of murder in America, you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think there is much reasonable doubt here. If I was a juror, I would sit there and I would consider, okay, fentanyl, meth, heart attack. Those three things by themselves would give me reasonable doubt to blame Derek Chauvin and not, the circumstances that George Floyd put himself in. All right, Christy M, thank you. Patreon is good. I'll sub there. I sub to Glenn Lowry on there. Great discussions. He and John McWhorter give great insights. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, Christy M. And thank you for sharing some great people that we should all go listen to. Uber to your mom's house said, I drove down to Miami this past Saturday. Hey, and I saw some police dancing with the crowd in the mix. People was vibing for sure, but the other areas, people getting too freaky for sure. Well, of course, you're in Miami, bro. Of course, it's getting too freaky. Miami is a small sin. It's a big sin city. Whispering Wind, good night. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great Tuesday. To Minneapolis City gave 14 million. I think they gave more. I think they gave 27 million. They gave 27 million. Yeah. Look at her. She came back. She can't go to bed without correcting you, sir. $27 million. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm not gonna hate on that. I'm not gonna hate on that. There was negligence. But was there murder? No. In my opinion, there was not murder. in my opinion, when I look at all the facts, I cannot, if I was sitting as a juror, I could not sit there and say beyond a reasonable doubt that Chauvin killed George Floyd. I couldn't. I could not. Has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with anything else. It's just I look at the whole picture. I look at the whole picture and I'm like, man, nah, I can't say murder. But I think I'm going to leave that right there. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys are sharing my content. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you guys have a great night. I will probably do another live stream before the week is over. As you guys know, there is so much news to cover in this Biden administration, and I just can't wait for Kamala Harris to do something so that we could talk about her, because she's been kind of hiding out, and Joe Biden has been the butt of all the jokes, falling up the stairs. I don't know how you fall up the stairs, but anyways, there's so much news going on. I'm going to do my best to bring the stories that I find most relevant and interesting to me, to you. Thank you guys. Have a great night. God bless. Peace.